Hi there, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. I would like to talk with you a little bit about your weight loss, your issues with your weight, and your attempt to lose the weight, and trauma. Because anything that you don't like in your life, and this sounds really weird, harsh, blunt, whatever you want to call it, anything that you don't like in your life here and right now as an adult is a result of some form of trauma, in your early childhood. Here's the thing, you came onto this planet, you can almost say like a computer. It's just probably the easiest way to compare it like that. Like a computer with a completely empty hard drive. There were a few programs on there, but the majority was blank. So you were programmed by the ones who raised you, and most of the times those are your parents. That does not always go right. That does not always go the way you really planned it. And so when it doesn't feel good, first of all, you cry as a baby because you have no vocabulary, you haven't learned what to speak. So the only means that you have available to you, as frustrating as it may be, is to cry. You cry for any kind of attention. Here's the thing, if you are left there in your crib or wherever, crying, and you are not picked up, you're not cuddled, you're not loved, you're not comforted, what does this mind of this little baby start to think, start to create? I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I feel rejected. Those are two massive things. There is no connection between the parent and the child. This especially happens when the mother, who is the most important figure for a child, is distant herself, has her own issues, and is somehow not able to connect with the child. So the child feels disconnected. And disconnected is the precursor to anxiety, depression, PTSD in later life. I didn't invent those kind of things. I have studied it a lot. I'm just bringing it to you in a perhaps more easy to understand language. So you are not feeling great as a child. You go through your childhood and there is a lot of events, a lot of trauma added to that, because every time there is something, you relate that back to what happened previously. You get a confirmation of, for instance, if your mother is working the night shift to make extra money, as a little kid, you don't understand why mom is leaving at night. She doesn't love me. And you feel rejected. So that all builds up. So what do you start to do the moment you start to little bit comprehend it? Logic is coming into the game, because the first 6-7 years, you're only emotions. There is no logic in a child. I didn't invent it. Again, just do your own research. So as a child, about 6, 7, 8 years old, the logic starts to develop. And you have to cope with these emotions that are not really dealt with. Because the parent often does not really understand what's going on in the mind of a child. The child may have had different expectations, and those expectations are not met. The needs of the child are not met. So what does the child start to do? Slowly, gradually, starts to suppress those unaddressed, undealt with emotions. Suppresses it down back into the gut. That's where your emotions come from. And how do we do that? Eating. We, in the beginning, do that with eating. A little bit later, people may change to drinking. Suppress it with drinking because that knocks you out of the world. That's a different form. Doesn't always work so perfect when you're 10, 12 years old. You don't have access to liquor so easily most of the time. So that's a little bit later in life, 16, 17, 18. That can start up. But before that, most people who have issues with themselves, because they're not connected to their parents and as such not acknowledged and not connected to themselves, suppress those emotions with eating, constantly eating. In the middle of the night, before they go to bed, during the day, outside of the routine of 3 meals, which is actually all we need, 2 or 3 meals a day, but suppressing constantly that feeling. And of course, gaining weight, like a mushroom. And you can do whatever you want. You can do another diet, diet, and it's not going to work. Yeah, it's going to work for a little while. Maybe you have the guts to hang into the diet for 6 weeks and then go like, oh my God. Maybe you've dropped or lost some weight. Maybe you haven't, and then you switch over to another one, getting even more ornery, looking in the mirror, hating yourself even more. When all of that is not really your fault, the only fault that you're making right now is not properly dealing with it. Can you do that yourself? No. Because the mind is so crafty. The mind will not allow you to go back to those very painful incidents where you started to form beliefs, had emotional experiences that were not addressed. So really, if you want to get over it, if you really permanently for the rest of your life, if you want to lose weight and keep it off, you have to have a therapist that takes you back to the root cause of the overeating, suppressing the emotions. Well, there are not a lot of therapists who can do it. There is a lot of talk therapists, but here's the thing. There is a group of hypnotherapists that are able to help you with that. And I just happen to be one of them, and I'm specializing in the healthy weight, not the perfect weight, the healthy weight. You don't want to have a healthy weight. You don't need to be skinny. You don't need to be whatever. What is the healthy weight for you? Deal with your problems. You start losing the weight, shredding the weight. Losing is painful. I've explained that in other videos. So I'm doing that because I like to get your attention. Losing weight is something that your ears perk up. But you don't want to lose anything because you've lost your car keys, you've lost perhaps a pet, you've lost your job. That's all very painful. So losing weight is painful. In the mind of the person, of the mind of you, it's painful. So you want to get slimmer, drop the weight, shred the weight, whatever, lose the pound, drop the pounds. You see, I'm ingrained in the word lose as well, even though, most of the time I don't use that word anymore, but I goof also time to time. I'm human, So here's the thing. There is nothing wrong with admitting that you don't know how to solve your weight issue. You're not the only one. I mean, every year, in December, we get the whole tsunami of new diets that, start in January with your New Year's resolutions. Just go on a new diet. Well, there's nothing new under the sun. There's just a couple of ingredients, but it's nothing new. And when you do your own research, if you like, but you don't have to, I can tell you right now the shortcut. 98% of all the diets fail. and you have probably failed at least a dozen diets, and you're still searching for the solution, the golden key, and you're still frustrated, ticked off, angry, whatever else, overweight, can't get it off, maybe dropped 20, 30 pounds, but that's that last 20 that you can't get off. Yeah, because the body, the mind, doesn't want to let go. So here is a little bit, I've just given you a little bit of information how this works. We humans are so complex. That's just so magnificent. But you know what? We can break through in hypnosis. So if you want to know more, direct message me. I would love to talk with you for 15 minutes for free. And we take it from there. And remember, this is my disclaimer. Everything I'm telling you is a combination of all my mentors I have learned from so much, and I just appreciate them over the last, I don't know how many years. And I just mix it together, put my own sauce over it, and hope that you learn something from that, something that triggers in you the desire, the choice to move forward and for once and for all, cut it. Finish it, change it. I'm here. So the disclaimer is that this is everything I've gathered. If you like it, great. Press the like button. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, press the subscribe. If you want to share it with somebody you feel might benefit from my content, please do. Please do. This is my mission in life, to help as many people as possible. And if you don't like it, it's all the same to me. I cannot please 8.5 billion people. So, I appreciate you, and we'll talk again further tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.